It's the same. It's just maybe different places. One hasn't changed the same. We do the same stuff. So do hosting, managed services applications, ERP applications. We're the only ones who do BON still. With SAP or I will skip this slide. So it's the solution architect with OneNet IT Solutions. Written a few books. Most of them are, well, pretty much all of them are Oracle certification from 8i to 12c certification, and I have one chapter in this book. That's why it is heavily behind with a few other race directors. So, anybody from Oracle here? No. All right, I'm going to talk about. So, I'm going to talk, before I talk about the cloud options available in Oracle for Oracle database, I'm going to show what are the options available to have an Oracle database in the cloud. Then we'll see what options Oracle gives and other providers like OneNet. I mean, we also have cloud. So, and then, I mean, different workloads have different purposes. So, whatever is best for you, you can pick. So the cloud options, I'm going to start with what are the cloud options. Before I start with Oracle, not just Oracle. I mean, Oracle database is coming into the game pretty late. I mean, there are other databases like MySQL, Postgres. They are available in Amazon RDS. Amazon has multiple databases available for subscription basis. Aurora, DynamoDB, Redshift, many databases available in Amazon. Azure has a Azure SQL database. I mean, that's the only database they have. Google has Google Cloud Data Store, mainly used for a NoSQL database for web and mobile applications. So there are a few other databases available. I just picked the top three cloud vendors out there, and then what the native databases they offer. Amazon also offers Amazon RDS, Relational Database Services, for Oracle. It's pretty neat. I mean, pretty much everything is automated. The licensing, there are two options for the license. Either you bring your own license or you use Amazon's license. If you're using Amazon's license, it's a standard edition. That's only available. If you bring your own license, you can have enterprise edition and other licenses. It is completely managed. I mean, they have a pre-configured database for you when you provision it. I mean, it's provisioned in a few minutes. I think it takes about 20 minutes to provision. It has all the metrics and tools comes with it. There's a console and metric console. You get event notifications. If there are any errors or alerts in the database, you get notifications. Backups are automated. You can also have replication. You can have the database replicated to another data center for your disaster recovery purposes using Azure's multi-AC deployment. That's the standard database. It's not a really data guard database. It's a storage level replication that is happening on the other side. So there are options available. Amazon not only provides Oracle in their RDS environment, they also give Amazon Aurora, PostgreSQL, MySQL, MariaDB, SQL Server also available on Amazon RDS. So they are the number one cloud provider anyway. So they got a lot of stuff. But when you go to Amazon RDS with a pre-configured database, there are a lot of restrictions because Amazon is managing the database for you, and you don't have access to sys or system as a DBA. You can't imagine database without sys or system. So this is not for the firms who have DBA. I mean, this is for somebody who doesn't have DBA and want to run a database or a small application on the cloud. I mean, this may be perfectly for that. Even if you get a DBA role in the database with restricted privileges, you cannot really do damaging work. I mean, for the real DBA work, you have to use their API, which is called RDS admin user, has a lot of APIs, and the RDS admin _ util. That package, you have to use that package to your DBA activities. So you don't use your alter system or alter table or alter database statements. You use this utility, this API, to manage the RDS database. and only Oracle managed files are supported. RAC is not supported natively. If you want RAC database, recently there's this is announced recently, in less than a month old, FlashGrid, that's another third party. They are providing the storage for AWS RAC. So you can read all of this here. So that is one option, Amazon RDS. Then there are many providers on the public as well as hosted public space, like AWS, Azure, Oracle, or the hyperscale cloud provider, public cloud. You can provision an IaaS server there, and you can have a database. It's basically your server is sitting in the cloud. The rest of the stuff, you get a Linux or Oracle Enterprise Linux VM or a server there, and you manage everything else as you manage your current database. So you basically provision your server in the cloud. You can go to AWS, Azure, or Oracle. They are the biggest providers, or Google. Or you can go to people like us. We do hosted private cloud with OneNeck. We also provision infrastructure as service, and we also do managed services. If you don't have DBA, we can manage it, or if you have DBA, you manage it. Doesn't matter. And these cloud providers, whether it's hosted private cloud or public cloud, you get the disaster recovery, enterprise grid, high availability. You don't have to worry about your hardware, tech refresh. All that stuff, you don't have to worry. Pretty much the operating system is also taken care by the cloud provider. So there's a link here to know more about it. So you can have your IaaS database, your Oracle database on IaaS infrastructure, but no changes. This will be managed as you manage your on-premise database. That is that. When it comes to Oracle, Oracle has a lot of offerings in cloud. So Oracle has the biggest thing, I think Oracle, or the most attractive thing, is the software as a service, where a lot of applications, you don't have to worry about where it is hosted, where it is, how it is running, how it is managed. All of that you don't have to worry. You just subscribe to the software as a service, where you have ERP, Oracle HCM, or CPQ. A lot of applications are available on software as a service option. I'm not going to talk about that. Infrastructure as a service, we just saw that. The same thing, whether it is Oracle or AWS or OneNeck, it is pretty much the same. The one difference is Oracle has Ravelo, that is for cloud provisioning and management. You can use Ravelo. And Oracle also provides bare metal, which is, I don't think Amazon or Azure provides bare metal. Oracle is the only hyperscale cloud provider who provides bare metal in the cloud. People like us, maybe we can provide bare metal, that's no problem, no issue for us. But on a hyperscale cloud, public cloud, nobody else provides bare metal. Platform as a service is where I'm going to talk about, and that to the data management piece. So even in the platform as a service, we have data management, which includes your database, your Golden Gate, your Data Guard, your RAC. All of that comes under the data management platform as a service. Then you have other platforms like the Java platform, your big data analytics platform, your APM platform. All of those platforms are also available, but not as popular as the data management. But maybe Java platform is very popular, similar to the database platform. So we will see on the PaaS side, database as a service. So on the PaaS side, database as a service, Oracle provides Oracle Database 11g R2, because that's the only database which is still under extended support. Then you have option of 12c R1 or 12c R2. If you were sitting in my previous session, I was talking about 12c R2. All of that features are from the cloud only release. The 12c R2 is available only in the cloud. It's not available anywhere else. GA is not available yet. It is very secure because it is encrypted. Pretty much the traffic is encrypted, your storage is encrypted. So it is, and the backups are encrypted as well. You have the option of a Data Guard RAC. There is a managed option also. If you don't have DBAs and you want Oracle to manage, Oracle can manage database. It's available, or Exadata. You can subscribe to that service. Pretty much all the database tools you are familiar with, the interface is the same. You can use SQL Plus, SQL Loader, SQL Developer. Data Pump, JDBC, all of that still works on the database on the cloud. You have full portability. Larry Ellison says you click a button, it goes to cloud, you click another button, it comes back to premise. Not that easy, but it is available. This one also I like. I mean, Oracle don't really promote this as much. They promote database as service. But I think many people can make use of this service even today, even if you are not considering or not planning to move your database to the cloud. Maybe you want to just move your backups to the cloud because you don't restore that often, and especially if you have a requirement to keep the backups more than a month, more than a year, or more than 7 years, or up to 7 years, you can use Oracle's archive storage, which is much cheaper than their regular storage, to 1 cent a gig or something like that. So you can put your backups in the cloud. This also, I mean, we also promote that at OneNeck, where you have your backups within the cloud, in the Oracle Cloud or OneNeck Cloud, and keep your database there. But if you have a DR situation, it's not just a backup, because your backup is sitting in the cloud. It is available. So maybe it is not immediately available for you to use as a DR, but maybe in 1 or 2 days, I mean, you can use that database, provision servers, and get it up and running. So it is another DR. I mean, if you don't have a full-fledged DR, maybe consider the backups to the cloud. Then that is your kind of DR. Okay. So Oracle Database Cloud Services. On the database itself, Oracle has at least 5 options here. So you have Database Cloud Service, which my presentation is pretty much based on that. Then Database Cloud Service bare metal, that is there. Then Exadata Cloud Service is there. So if you want high performance, higher resources, Exadata is also available on the cloud. You can subscribe to Exadata. So you don't have to, the minimum you can purchase Exadata is 1/8 rack. I mean, if you don't need that much, and if you want to have it in the cloud, you can subscribe to Exadata. Then you can also have Exadata Cloud Machine available. Then Exadata Database Express. This is new in 12c. This is pretty much replacing the Schema as a Service option for the Oracle. Right now in 11g there is a Schema as a Service available. That is still available, but in the future that will be going away, and Oracle is pushing everybody to go to Exadata Cloud Database Service. So you get a 12c release to Enterprise Edition running on a Exadata as a pluggable database. So instead of Schema, you get a pluggable database. You can create multiple schemas, which is more flexible and more usable than a schema. So that is going to be available. It starts like $175 a month subscription for the very small one. So if you have a smaller application, you want to have it on a cloud, high available, that's an option to go. So Database Cloud Service. So why cloud? If you look at this is from 451 research. 451 says, I mean, in 2015, they may predict from a 2015 report. By 2017, I mean, you should see the on-premise database will go down from 58 to 39%. So that doesn't mean all of them are going to cloud. I mean, Oracle's cloud, or they are all going to be database as a service. It is going to a data center that is not local to your office. I mean, you are using internet to access the data. That's all it means. The cloud means you are using internet to access the data. That's all it means. So basically, you can see in every area this is increasing. SaaS, IaaS public cloud, hosted public cloud, everywhere there is increase. The shrinkage is in the on-premise non-cloud and off-premise non-cloud. That's where the shrinkage you see. But everywhere you can see that the projection is this. If you look at some of the 2016 reports, I mean, the adoption is much more than this. So people are really adopting to cloud because that is much cheaper for their operations, especially the CapEx versus OpEx model is attractive. And look at the Oracle database. As a DBA, when you have to create a new database, let's assume you have to create a new database. This is from Oracle's slide, from that presentation. I have the link on the bottom. So Oracle says you have to do at least 50 steps, or up to 50 steps to create a database. Right from finding a floor space in your data center, getting the server, provisioning storage, all of that. So if you take away that part, I mean, the 50 might become 40, but still there are a lot more steps you have to do to create a database. And you have to depend on a few people. I mean, you have to depend on the operating system admin to provision you the OS and the server, the virtualization guy to provision you the virtualization part of it, to place virtualization. And you have to depend on the storage admin to provision you the storage.
Mhm.
So all of that takes time. Whereas if you have database on the cloud, it's pretty much less than 30 minutes. You go in there, choose the version, what the shape you want, mean the compute, how many CPUs, how much memory. Then you provide your SSH keys, I mean how you connect to that database using SSH. You have to generate a key and you need to keep the key with you, the private key with you and the public key you got over there. And you press go and get a copy, come back, your database is ready for you to use. So pretty much it's subscription based. You have choices. It is integrated with other cloud products like SaaS and other SaaS products. So these are the things happening. When you request for service, Oracle will allocate the compute. So it will provision a VM, it will install the operating system on it, it will allocate storage, it will install the operating system on it, it will use the public key you provided and create the keys in there, install and create the software and the database. It will configure the backup for you. It will configure all the tools, your cloud management, cloud database management tools, and it will give you a Java front end with cloud management and cloud information, and it's database ready to use. So this all happens, whatever in the gray, this all happens while you get a cup of coffee. And a lot of things are automated. I'll show you in my the subsequent slides what are the tools available and how much automation is there in the Oracle Cloud. So you have these options. I mean, you have rack available in the databases as cloud. Right now, only 2-node rack. I mean, if you want more than 2 node, you have to go with the Oracle Infrastructure Service. You install the rack yourself, configure it yourself. But if you are happy with 2-node cloud, 2-node rack, it's automatically provisioned for you. You just pick the right option, it will be provisioned for you. When you have rack, it uses Oracle ASM. If you don't have rack, it is a Linux LVM is what is used for storage. Similarly, DataGuard is available. DataGuard, you can have one primary and one standby. That's all, not more than one standby. So Oracle Golden Gate is available. Golden Gate, you can provision the Golden Gate service. You can, when you create a database, you can mark the database as a source or target for Golden Gate replication. That's also available. You have Database Vault by default. It's there. If you want to use it, you just have to enable that. Tablespace encryption by default. All the user-created tablespaces are encrypted by default. That is, I mean, you can bypass that by setting a parameter, but I don't have any to do that. But let's assume it's by default, it's encrypted. So all of these features, I mean, available for you. I mean, if you are a DBA and you are not familiar with Rack, you are not familiar with Golden Gate, you're not familiar with DataGuard, don't worry about the configuration. I mean, so companies can start managing their database with high availability, disaster recovery, replication, reporting with a junior DBA, right? Because you don't need all the skills. I mean, the database is not. But when it comes to troubleshooting and performance, yeah, you need people knowledgeable. That's when people like OneNAC and Visco City come in with the resources. But you can start with this. So let's see how we create a database on the cloud. So we sign in and we go there. By default, the Linux version right now, all the cloud Oracle Cloud provisioning is on the Linux server 6.6. Even though 7 is up, Linux 6.6 is what you get database as a service. So you choose your subscription type, whether you want database cloud service or database cloud service virtual image. The difference is with the cloud service, you get the database provisioned and running for you. Whereas database cloud service virtual image, you only get the operating system. Your software is in a compressed mode, sitting under the scratch directory. It is sitting out there. You have to install the software. You have to create the database using the tools provided. So if you want to have a database created your way and managed on the Oracle Cloud with the cloud tools, you can choose this option and then create the database. But this is the best option, or the database will be created. So, yeah, with virtual image, you get only the /root and /boot partitions. Then the DB version is there. You have to allocate storage and then install and create the database. With the DB cloud service, when you choose DB cloud service, you have three options. You can choose 11c release 2, 12c release 1, or 12c release 2. And you pick the time zone you want the database to be running and the billing frequency. So this is interesting. I mean, if you are not planning to use the database full time, the whole month you are not planning to use, or the whole year you are not planning to use. You have a development database which need to be available only 4 hours a month, 4 hours a week, or 20 hours a week. You choose the hourly billing, and then that will reduce your cost of using this database, because your billing is by hour. So whatever appropriate for you. You also have the other option of subscribing yearly contracts, but you can either choose hourly or monthly. If it is a metered one, you choose either hourly or monthly. Then you can choose which edition you want. So we are familiar with standard edition and enterprise edition. Those two are available there. Then on premise, we buy the other options, right? We buy the packs, the partitioning option. We buy the rack option. We buy the active data guard option. So all of that is a package for you in 2 additional flavors of enterprise edition. So you get enterprise edition high performance. With high performance, you get the EE database with data guard, plus you get multi-tenancy, you get partitioning, you get real application testing, OLAP, advanced compression, advanced security, all of this diagnostic tuning pack, data masking. All of this comes with high performance. And if you choose extreme performance, you get high performance plus the data guard becomes active data guard. You can use that instance for your reporting purposes. You get rack. So if you want to use rack, you have to choose extreme performance. You get in-memory database, which is a 12c feature available in memory. These are all the compute shapes available by default. I mean, if you go with the database as service, the smallest one you can have is one OCPU, one CPU, 7.5 GB RAM. That is the smallest you have. The biggest you have is 16 CPU, 240 GB RAM. So pretty much a lot of workload can be managed in this compute shape. You have this many shapes. So you have 7, 15, 30, 60, 120 GB RAM. You double the RAM here, keep the same number of CPUs. That is the large memory footprint for the compute shape. You have that option. You can choose the character set. You can choose the character set. Then you choose the backup option. Where you want to backup. You have option to not to backup the database, or you can backup on the cloud only. Earlier, in the previous version of the cloud server, there was an option to store the backup local only. Now Oracle don't provide that local only option. It is either cloud only or cloud and local. So you can have a cloud backup as well as a local backup for the database. Then you see, this is how you configure rack and other options. You checkbox this, then your database will be provisioned as rack. That's it. You don't do anything else at all. You checkbox this, then it will become a Golden Gate client will be installed there. It will be ready for you to replicate into a Golden Gate instance, another Golden Gate instance. The most speedy we will talk about that later. And if you want standby database, you check this, it will create another database for you. And I don't have a screen here, but there are 2 options with the standby. Do you want high availability or disaster recovery? The difference is when you want HA, the databases, both databases will be created in the same data center. When you want DR, the standby database will be created in a different data center. So that is the difference between HA and DR, but both using standby database. That also you do a checkbox here. So this is the current pricing as of last week. Hasn't changed or something, but you can see how much you'll be paying. This is for one CPU. So if you have one CPU standard edition, or then per month you'll be paying $600 for that database. So if it is non-metered, I mean, this is by hour, right? So every hour you are paying $1 an hour for the database. So if you have a development database where you have one developer, he uses 20 hours a month. So you can, if you go by the meter, you probably are spending like $20 an hour a month for that development databases, which is rarely used. So you figure out what is best for you. Maybe this is not the best option, maybe this is the best option. You go with the non-metered, and then you pay for the storage and you pay for the package you use, and this is the per month cost for that. So, or you go with the public cloud and whatever makes sense, or hosted private cloud, whatever makes sense. Yep.
The checkboxes on the prior slide, Rack and Golden Gate, do those cost extra per checkbox, or do you just select the enterprise edition?
So basically, if you want a rack, I mean, this is where, so if you want a rack, you have to choose this option, Extreme Performance Package. You see the difference?
Yep.
Per hour, $1 to $8 an hour.
But once you've selected Extreme Performance Package, you can either check Rack or not check Rack. You're paying the same price.
Correct. Yeah. If you don't choose Extreme Performance, you won't even have the option to choose rack. You will not get that checkbox there.
So how about the number of nodes in the rack? I mean,
2 nodes.
That's the maximum.
That's it. That's maximum. If you want more than that, you go with an IaaS mode where you can install and configure the number of.
Is this pretty much how the other cloud service providers like Amazon?
Nobody else provides anything like this, right? I mean, Amazon, you saw that there is no rack available.
Right.
Amazon RDS is very limited.
But I mean, as far as the storage and the memory consumption and all that goes, is that how?
Pretty much
set it?
similar compute shape. I mean, yeah. But they have, Azure has up to 2 terabyte, and you can go up to 2 terabyte on the memory footprint. Here, if you want more than 240 gig, I mean, you can either go subscribe for an Exadata cloud service or a bare metal where you can have more than 240.
Okay. So you mentioned Exadata is an option?
Exadata cloud service is an option, yeah. So let's see what are the tools available. So before we access a database on the cloud, you need to open some ports, because when Oracle creates a database, it is pretty secure. You can only connect using the SSH key you have provided. So if your tool support a proxy SSH to get into that port, you can use that, like SQL Developer. But if you use SQL Plus or some other services, some other tools to connect, you need to enable or open some ports. So Oracle Cloud, I mean, it's called access route. So you go into the access route, there are some predefined ports, access routes there. You enable those. Like for example, if you want to have the DB listener, you want to connect to 1521 port, and you want to use SQL Plus to connect to the database directly, or SQL Developer to connect to the database directly. Then you open the 1521 port. Similarly, I mean, if you want to use Database Express, you open different ports. So you open the right port you want, then the connection information, how you connect to the database, so it is available in the cloud. Once you provision the database, this information is available. So for example, I provisioned a database with a standby option. So I've got 2 compute shapes. So there is one DG01 and DG02. It shows me the primary and standby. What is the database name? What is the PDB name? Which port it is running? What is the IP address? That's all the information I need to connect. So I use the IP address, the port, the database name to connect. And if you don't want to configure that, Oracle also gives you the connect string, the full connect string here. You just copy paste this connect string into your tool, then you can connect to the database. If it is a data guard configuration, it is pretty simple connection. You just use this connect string and connect. So I didn't mask anything. I'm giving you the database service name, the pluggable database name, and the server where it is running. So you may have to add this name into your DNS or in your host file to use this name. Otherwise, you have to use the IP address.
Is that an encrypted transfer data and stuff?
Yes, the data transfer is encrypted. Yeah, network encryption is there. So that is the connection. If you use SQL Developer, how many of you use SQL Developer? Okay. So if you use SQL Developer, there are 2 options for you to connect. One is using the port number, where you have to open that port. If you don't want to open the port, you can use the SSH file, SSH type to connect. So whereas it is more secure. So if you want it, this is the preferred method for me. So you use the SSH and you create a port forwarding, and the 1521 port you define here. So when you use SSH connection, the connection will be directed to the port 1521, and then you get connected. So this is more secure way of connecting, and you can check out this on my blog. I have written about it, so you can get the details there. DBAS Monitor is a tool which Oracle provides when you create an instance. So for that you have to open the port 443. Once you open the port, you can manage the pluggable databases there. I mean, you can create a pluggable database, you can clone a pluggable database, you can do the back. You can see the backup status, the listener status, the instance, and all the stuff. You can see it. I think I'll have some time to show you a demo. But the screenshots are there in this blog. So DBAS Monitor is a tool which is available on the cloud for you to manage databases. Then you also have OEM 12c Database Express. Remember, it is not grid control, it is not database control. I haven't updated. Last time when I presented, I thought I will update that. This Database Express, Oracle Database Express 12c. So it is the same 12c Database Express available for you when you create a 12c database. So you can use 12c grid control. So for that you have to open the port 5500. That's where 12c is running. There are a few other tools available.
So under Express, do we have the OEM performance options and all, like what we have
Yes,
OEM?
yes. Yeah, the Express has the performance, the real-time ADDM and a few
It has all those features.
SQL profiles, all those things are available in Express also. So other cloud tools available are called DBAS CLI, Command Line Interface, or RAG CLI. This is pretty much some of the administrative activities you do. Oracle created an API for you so that you don't have to go through the steps. This is automatically pre-scripted because Oracle provisioned the database for you. It knows the configuration pretty well. So it is very easy to create an API for you to do a standby switchover or to role reversal. I mean, you want to make the primary as standby and standby as primary, or you want to apply a patch, or you want to do database recovery. I mean, because the configuration is there, it knows where the backups are. It can do a recovery. You just specify when you want to recover and use the tool to do that. It will do it for you. So these are APIs available. If it is a single instance, you use DBAS CLI. If it is a RAG instance, you use RAG CLI. And this I have written about this also here. You can click on this link and learn about it. There is a couple more tools available. DB Patch MDG. This is to list available patches, check if the patches are available, how to apply the patches and roll back any patch. This is an interesting tool. So these tools are available on the cloud VM, right? So if you have a Linux machine available, or you have a laptop which is running Linux, you can download this utility from Oracle Cloud, and then you can manage the cloud database from that Linux machine. You don't have to use you don't have to log into that machine or the VM to run the cloud management. You can manage the cloud database using this tool from your laptop. Again, so let's look at the backup service. The backup service.
So does Oracle itself provide the patching and the upgrade kind of utilities for you? I mean, don't they do the things for you, or?
No, this is still managed by us. I mean, unless we choose the managed option.
Oh.
I'm not talking about the managed option. Managed option is Exadata Express. Exadata Express is completely fully managed, where you don't have an option. Oracle will send you an email saying that the thing is not available from this window to this window because this weekend the CPU just came out. We are applying CPU or PSU on this database. So it is all completely managed. You don't have any control on when the PSU get applied or all of that stuff.
Yeah, that was
Where this is only the provisioning is automated. Once it is provisioned, it is your database because you have root access. Nobody else gives you root access on a database. Amazon RDS doesn't give it. So you get root access. You can add more storage to it. You can create database links. You can create NFS shares. It is similar to another IIS service, another IIS node. So you can do pretty much anything you want to do with IIS node. But you also get the tools. These tools are available because Oracle knows the configuration of the database. Oracle knows the RAC. or the backups where they are. So you get the tools, you just say, I want to recover the database to this type. You don't use RMA, you just use dbus CLI to do that, Oracle will recover it for you.
They still probably have a minimum release that you can get that way, right? Like, they're not gonna force you to go apply patches, but.
No, not on this. I mean, on this, it is up to you. But when you go to the cloud front end, it will show you that, hey, you haven't applied this many patches are available, and you can schedule the patch and apply it. But this is managed by you, it's your database. No forcing. Oracle is not watching. So backup cloud service. This is interesting. So as I was mentioning earlier, if you have an on-premise database running in your server, and you can do the backup on the cloud. So you see here, these are all the benefits of this. It's available on the cloud. You can do even 10.2 database, 10.2, 11J, 12C, EE and SC. All of that versions you can back up to the cloud. It is very easy to deploy. You are not changing any of your scripts, maybe one change in your script. That's pretty much it. All we are doing is, this is how you install. You go to OTN, you go to this HTML and download that OPC install.jar file. You run that installer using Java, using your Java application, Java minus jar file. You extract that jar file, and because the backup is transported over the WAN, it need to be encrypted. So if you are not using encryption in your database, you need to enable the backup encryption. So that it is better to create a wallet. So if you are not that concerned about security, you can go by the password encryption also. Then you specify the cloud location where the backup is going to be. This is where when you do this installation, you specify a directory. That's where the library file is going to get created. So for example, today when you use Commvault or NetBackup for your backup, you specify the NetBackup library file, because you're in this SBT library, you are going to specify a NetBackup library name. Or if you use Tivoli, you are going to specify the IBM Tivoli library name. Similar to that, you are specifying a cloud library name. This library, I mean, that's all the change. Just imagine that you changed your backup system. I mean, it got upgraded, you got a cheaper deal from some other provider, and you install that. Now you have to change you install the client and change it. Here, the installation of the client is only installing this libopc.so file. Then there is a parameter file also comes with it. You can adjust that if there is anything needed, but most likely you don't need to make any changes. So you specify this in your RMAN configuration file or RMAN script. You specify the SPT library and SPT the OPC file. Those are the two things you specify, and you do your backup as you do today. No change. Do your incremental backups. Do your daily backups. Everything you do, it gets stored in the cloud. That's it. And it is not that expensive in my mind. So if you you can look at the storage pricing, the pricing is available here. But if you do a whole database, a big database, I mean, like, so if you are backing up a huge database and you pay, like, you have to do a lot of backups. You do a lot of archival backups every hour. You do incremental backups every day and full backups every weekend. It doesn't matter how many backups you do. You pay like $33 a terabyte a month. So it is cost effective as well to consider that. So that's why I think there may be more adoption for this than the databases, because database in the cloud is a little bit, we need to catch up and do this. But this is very cheap and easy to change. You have a database running there, especially you can use the backups for as a DR as well. And if you have the databases running in two different locations, the backup is available on the cloud. Oracle has the network to go around the world, so your access will be faster to get to that. For example, you have a production in the US and a dev running in India. I mean, you can utilize Oracle's network to get that backup faster into your dev system.
How's the performance?
Depending on your network speed. Yeah. So, and on the cloud, I mean, you saw a checkbox there, demos PDB. I mean, when you install the demos PDB, you get access to that IP address and demos. So here you can learn more about Oracle Cloud, you can learn more about the pluggable databases, the services and all this stuff. It gives you a pluggable database and lab instructions, so you can really try out things on the cloud on how to migrate data, how do I convert a database from non-pluggable to pluggable database on the cloud, how do I upgrade it. All of that lab exercise is available in this links here. And so these are all hands-on demo and hands-on labs. So you can click here and then practice on the cloud what you want to do. But in summary, what are the things to consider? I think cloud is the direction. Everybody has to go there because no company has the huge capital remaining anymore. Everybody want to move to the OpEx model. I mean, you want to go to a subscription model. Whatever I utilize, I want to pay for that. Because in today's world, if you have let's say one of our clients, I mean, let's say they are running an M9000 from 10 years back, they spend $3 million on that M9000. Now to upgrade that database to a bigger server, maybe they got to go to a bigger server, an Exadata server. That's a few $1 million to spend to find in this year. Whereas if I go with an IaaS provider, I'm buying only what I need. Otherwise, I have to plan for the next 10 years growth, and then I'm buying stuff for the next 10 years. And that resource is sitting here idle. The storage, the compute, the memory, everything is sitting idle because you're not using it. You just plan for the next 10 years because you don't upgrade or change your servers every year. You have to plan for the next 10 years, right? So if you go the IaaS model, infrastructure service or a database as a service model, you don't have to spend that much capital. So I think if you talk to any CIO or CFO, I mean, their direction is cloud because they have heard about it. They don't know too much about cloud, but what something is there where it is OpEx, but they will force you to go there. So that's the direction I see pretty much many companies are going. Unlike the myth, I mean, people think things on the cloud is not that secure. I mean, it is open. It is not that secure. It's not true. I mean, cloud, because I'm coming from a cloud background, I mean, cloud provider ourselves, things on the cloud are much more secure than on-premise. Because you take Oracle, I mean, everything is encrypted, everything is stored encrypted. Things are not open. I mean, you need to have different access levels to get there. So it is more secure in the cloud than probably on your on-premise, unless you are using other methods. Oracle database itself, I mean, the level security or encryption is by default. I mean, it's there. How many of your databases are encrypted today? Nobody encrypts databases today. You transfer those files across on the WAN without encryption. Because somebody asks you, the vendor is asked, troubleshooting a problem, he wants your schema to be sent over there. What do? You just export the data pump export and you transfer clear text, I mean, across the wire. I mean, it's not encrypted. So it is much secure on the cloud in my view. Again, whether you want to go with the SaaS model or PaaS model or IaaS model, it's up to you. It depends on your workload, what your appetite is. I mean, what kind of resources you have in-house. I mean, do you have DBAs or you want somebody else to manage your database? Or you go with the cloud provider with the managed services. I mean, it all depends on what you want. And many people are looking into hybrid IT because it is more cost effective. I mean, you have either, again, it is that hesitancy to get into the cloud. Maybe they want to move only the dev test workload to the cloud now. So you probably get your dev test workload into your public cloud and maybe move your production workload, either keep it on-premise or move it to a hosted private cloud where everything is secure for you and private, there is nobody else. You are the only one, but it's just sitting in the cloud. So those are the direction. I mean, just think about this. That is the direction. That's where the industry is going. So have to be familiar with the IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, cloud. You have to. And don't forget licensing, because licensing is a little bit different for Oracle on authorized cloud environments. So the bigger cloud providers like Amazon and Azure, Oracle considers those two as the authorized cloud environments because Oracle is supported to run on Amazon and Azure. The license is a little bit different than your on-premise because the CPU cores, how you count the CPU cores is different. So if you are running on Amazon EC2 and RDS, 2 vCPU is equal to 1 Oracle processor license. If you are on Azure, 1 CPU is equal to 1 processor. So Azure, basically the thing is that Azure hyperthreading is enabled by default. Here EC2 it is not enabled. So if it is enabled, yeah, you get 1 CPU equal to 1 core. If it is not enabled, it says 2 vCPU is equal to 2 cores is 1. That's all it is. So standard edition and standard edition 2 will be licensed only up to 8 CPUs. You cannot have more than 8 CPUs on the public cloud for standard edition. But if it is enterprise edition, you can have more than that. And next is, let me see how much time we have. 10 minutes, I'll show you quickly. Have you tried Oracle Cloud? Anybody? No? Right, I'll show you quickly how Oracle Cloud looks like. So you go to cloud.oracle.com and this is where you get, you have a thing called free trial here. You click on the free trial, you provide some basic information if you don't have an ID already created with Oracle. Most of us already have Metalink access, so you just log in with that access and your free trial is ready. You click there. But since I have an access already, I'm going to sign into my account. I choose where my database is. Mine is running in US2 data center, and my identity domain, and my user ID password. So this is the cloud dashboard you see. You can see that this is a trial system. I'm not paying for this. This is a free trial. So I have limitations. I have 1 CPU left and some 183 blocks available. Compute, whatever is in it. So you get a dashboard. So it shows on the compute I have 4 instances running, storage of what I have in storage, and database. So you can expand that and you can see more information. So database instances I have 2. So this is, I was talking about database. So you click on database and you go to the console. You open the console. I'm using my phone Wi-Fi and configure the Wi-Fi here, so it's a little bit slow.
So what are the reasons anybody would want to go to a private hosted cloud versus just a public cloud like this? I mean,
So-
is it just security of data, or is there something more to it than that?
Security is one thing. See, there are some restrictions. I mean, HIPAA. If you are a medical, if you are in the medical line, some HIPAA restrictions are there where you cannot have the data on public cloud. So, I mean, that might go away soon because people need to find out, I mean, how secure the public cloud is and things like that. So that is one reason. Other reason is, I mean, you want everything private. I mean, you want to have, you want to subscribe to the compute. I mean, dedicated compute for you because that is a cheaper option for you. You don't want to go to the metered or monthly metered service because you know your workload. You want to grow into that, and then you get that. So in that case, the hosted private cloud makes more sense for you because it might work out cheaper than the metered and other services. So it depends on and you might have a need to have bigger servers. For example, you might want to have a database to have 4-node rack with each with the 2 terabyte memory or 4 terabyte memory each. I mean, if you want to have something like that, maybe a hosted private cloud makes more sense for you. It all depends on your workload and your need. I mean, there is no one solution is not a solution or an answer for all of your needs. That's why there are options available. You either go to hosted private cloud or public cloud, or I mean, basically the on-premise is no longer the choice. I mean, you have choices with the cloud provider for all of your workloads. You just need to pick the right workload or the right option for you. So, yeah, so you get here, and you see here the create service. You click on this, and then that's where you create your service. So I have like two databases running here. Like this is the database we were seeing earlier. So if I click on this database, so you create the database. You'll see the same screen as you saw in my presentation. You have to answer those compute shape and all those stuff. You can create the stuff. But I want to show you the DBAS monitor if this is working. And there is a menu here, and you can see that there is a menu here. This is a menu, and there's a menu available here. So this is where you access the tools and stuff. But if you have not gone into cloud, I mean, I recommend go cloud.oracle.com, click on the free trial, and start playing with it. I mean, if not anything, I mean, you get to have a database for you to try out some things, maybe learn some Control C, or yeah. So this is my database. So this is using one node because it's a non-rack database. I'm using one CPU, the lowest one, and it is using 244 GB storage. So if there are any patches available, it will show here. I mean, how many patches available. I applied all the patches, so it will show here how many patches available. It will show if I have taken any snapshot. Why you take a snapshot? You take a snapshot if you want to clone the database. So you take a snapshot and use that snapshot to build another database. So when you do a create database, you have an option. Hey, do you want to create this from backup or you want to fresh install? If you want to create from the backup, you just specify the snapshot name and it will create it from there. So that is good for creating clones from production to dev. I mean, so you create a production snapshot, use that to create a dev database. And there is a health check available. It will do the health check. If there are backups taken, it will also show here the backups here. I haven't enabled backups because this is a trial. I have very limited storage, so I can't be running backups all the time. So you see the connect information here to get there, and this menu. I'll just show you what other things are available. I'm not going to click anything. It's slow.
So even the trial version allows you to have high performance.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And it allows you to have high performance, and you have to stay within the limitation, right? So you have only 6 compute nodes and so much memory allocated for you. So if you are creating a rack database and you already use 2 minimum and so much memory, so here you can see the DBAS monitor, Oracle Application Express. This is something cool because that comes by default with the Oracle Cloud Database. So you just click on this, and you have Apex Workspace. Jared is talking about Apex on the other side, which is rapid development. And you have EM console, that's what we saw in the screenshot. This is the SSH access. So if you want to have a different public key, you can use a different public key. You update the keys, you can do it here. And the access rules is where you specify which port to open, which those things. Then replace this database using a backup. So you want to restore to a previous backup, you just click on this, restore the database using backup, and choose the backup, it will be restored for you. So
What are your best practices for taking an existing on-premise database and moving it to the cloud?
So if it is a 12C database, the best thing to do would be like to unplug the database from on-premise and plug it into the cloud. And you just transfer the data files and then plug it in. If it is a 11G database, you want to take it, or a 10G database, for example, or even a 9A or 7.3 database, you want to take it from on-premise and put it in the cloud as 11G or 12C. The best thing to do would be to use export import. So if it is a 9A and below, use export. If it is 10G and above, you use data pump. Data pump export, put it in, you create a database here, schema here, you import it. And SQL Developer, if you use SQL Developer, that has an option where you can drag and drop a table. I mean, if you connect to an on-premise database and you connect to a cloud database, you drag your table from this to here, it gets copied. So that is for if you want to transfer one table over there. So that is available in SQL Developer.
The alert monitoring, does that have to be set up through the EM console or the Express thing?
No, basically all you have to do is like you just enable the access control for the open the port, then you go there and you have to log in with the DBAS monitor ID and password, and then you get the console for DBAS. So it is basically DBAS underscore MONITOR, and the password I used in creating the database. Is that while that is coming, let me show you quickly another thing. So this is the DBAS monitor. You can see here, it gives you a quick status of the database, how much storage you are using, how much memory you are using, how much, what are the file system here, and you click here and you can see more details here on the listener, the storage, the backups, all of that stuff, and the OS metrics also you see here, and you can also look at the alert log errors and stuff like that here. So this is a good console. And when you go to manage, you can manage the pluggable databases. You can create pluggable databases. So you can create a PDB. You can plug in a PDB. So this is where you use the plug-in PDB. You unplug the PDB from your on-premise database, transfer the files, transfer the XML file. You plug in the PDB here. So it is that easy. So you can duplicate. You can. What is this, clone, right?
Yes.
No, close, unplug, drop, then you can see the connection state, you can modify the state, mount state, all of that you can do from here. So this is the only menu where you can make any change. All other is pretty much read only, just gives you information, you cannot make any change from here. You have to use the DBAS CLI to do it. And this is another one where Oracle gives you root access, so you use any SSH client to get there, and you log in using the OPC account. And you are in. So so this is basically, you have access to the whole server, whole VM server. As a DBA, you have access to that. So you just do sudo su, then you are root, right? What else you need? So these are the file systems out there. So you can see this is a non-rack instance, so you get the file systems and stuff. So let's. I'm done. Just one more slide. That is a demo, just do it. And got a lot of links here where most of them are going to my blog, where the cloud things, if you don't want to try, if you want to just read about it and know about it, you can go to the blog. And this is the last one is where you can try Oracle Cloud.